As for the next topic, it was already mentioned, and it's applied ethics. The InnovAIte Ethics Evaluation Framework for the operationalization of trustworthy AI principles. This topic will be presented by an international guest connecting through the stream, and then you will be able to ask questions either in person or through Slido. I think we're ready. And when our guest is ready, hopefully you'll enjoy the presentation. So this is Mihai Maftei from the German AI Research Center. So the next presentation will follow.
Indeed, I will share with you today the ethics evaluation framework developed within the InnovAIte project in the last months. And a first step in doing this is to talk about a little bit about the motivation behind. One facet is more abstract. As you might know, nowadays, there is a wide range of ethical principles and guidelines everywhere. And this normative and policy landscape it's multifaceted, so to say. And some of them are sometimes overlapping, others differ in their structure and scope and how one can implement them. So the main idea was to formulate a framework, a theoretical framework actually, that could fit best with the needs of the InnovAIte project. And from a very applicable perspective, it was needed to create also a process behind. So the theoretical framework, it's very useful, but it's not so is not as useful as it should be without a process that lies behind and facilitates in the implementation of it. When it comes to the context, the team formulated the framework I said before, I mentioned before, based on the high-level expert group, 7 key principles for trustworthy AI. This was the fundament for the framework. And one of the main goals that we had in mind, it was to link this normative principles with some kind of practical evaluation solution. And this one was the high-level expert group ALTAI list. And again, the process. So when to ask exactly the right questions in the development process or in the entire life cycle of an AI system. The initial actions that have been done was to screen and to make an ethics screening around the project working packages and to explore and see what and which are the general needs of the project in terms of ethics, right? And then we decided together with the consortium to adopt the high-level expert group for this sake and to utilize the ALTAI list as a checklist which translates the principles, the AGELEC principles, into applicable questions. Maybe this slide is very familiar for everybody in the room, so I am not going to talk too much about this. What you see now are the 7 principles of the EU AGELEC. And these are human agency and oversight, technical robustness and safety, privacy, data governance, transparency, non-discrimination and fairness, societal and environmental well-being, and accountability. Why is this important and relevant? And maybe that's the only thing I will mention here. And to the question, why choosing AGELEC for the project? Well, maybe one of the top reasons was because the AGELEC is the foundation for the AI Act. It's actually the only current existing ethical framework which was used as a basis for a regulatory framework, which is the AI Act. And therefore, we considered it as being highly relevant for the EU and beyond, of course. Okay, so in formulating the framework, we tried to explore some kind of pre-process to see exactly, as mentioned before, which are the needs of the projects. And we sent to every working package a questionnaire and with 12 questions, as you can see into this slide. And the topics revolved around the scope, the use cases, architectures, features, expected outputs of the system, how the data life cycle looks like or is intended to look like, the roles of the stakeholders, risk profiles, yeah, and so on and so forth. And as we did that, we discovered that this principled foundation on the HLAG works very well and can be aligned very well with the project with tiny adjustments. But what matters exactly is context, right? So when it comes to this ALTAI list, and a lot of you might already know what I'm talking about, it's a relatively long list to be or a questionnaire to be filled by researchers. And as we wanted to enable and to make a process not too difficult and time consuming for the researchers, the idea was to give context to that and to create a curated ALTAI list for the sake of efficiency, right? So one should not go through the entire list, but only to those questions which are relevant for its own his or her own research. And you can see here the actual framework, which is a three-stage process. In stage one, it's actually a more informative phase in which again every working package or research group should fill in a questionnaire about information regarding the type of the system, its capabilities, if there is any level of autonomy or not, which will be the main intended use of the system, information regarding the data sources, if synthetic, historical, personal data, sensitive data is used or not, and then the deployment context and governance and the oversight model. Once we get the answers to the questions of this first stage, then the ethics team analyzes the responses through the HLAC principles, right? And we check if there is any privacy, bias, transparency, and so on and so forth issues. And we also consider the risks, and we write an informative report to researchers and send it to them to show exactly where the problems might be. Of course, there are two cases. It can be the case that the system is not problematic from an ethical perspective at all through the lens of the HLAC. And then we can offer only a set of recommendations. And these recommendations, again, revolve around ethics as an added value. Okay, your system is doing well. There are no ethical challenges, but you can improve the system and improve the functionality of it by making it more transparent, more bias-free, and we give a set of recommendations which are, of course, have only a consultative role. Or the second option, in which we identify some ethical risks within the developed system, and we then send to the research group this specific set of ALTAI questions or the curated list of the questions. And once we have the answer to these questions, then we get into the third stage, which is mitigation and verification. So again, we review the responses to those ALTAI questions and try to identify gaps. And from this point on, we are more on a collaborative exchange with the research team, right? To see exactly how can we help, if we can be of any help with mitigation measures, with recommendations. And then we go again with a reassessment until the HLEC criteria are met, and the system can be considered as trustworthy from the perspective of the HLEC 7 principles. As an addition to this, this framework, the project decided to formulate also a knowledge base. This knowledge base it could be relevant actually, and it would be important to be consulted before the development of a certain system and have a look at what might go wrong in a proactive with a proactive approach, right? And then try to proactively mitigate this kind of risks or fully avoid these. And therefore, we prepared a knowledge base with 4 repositories in which researchers can have a look and see if there is any similarity or if there is any possibility for any kind of incidents for a specific system or technology. So this is more an optional tool, but it can be of help again from this proactive perspective. And yeah, that being said, thank you very much. This is what we currently did. When it comes to the use of it, we already are in the second or third phase of the framework with all working packages or different subdivisions of the project working packages. And we are looking forward to see exactly how this develops until the end of the project. Thank you.
Ďakujeme pekne aj my. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. At this moment, we would move on to Slido.
Presentation. Our guests now had the chance to use Slido to ask the questions, alebo to môžeme spraviť presne tak, ako tým dá sa aj prihlásiť a spýtať sa otázku napriamo, ale pokiaľ by ste teda mali akékoľvek dodatky.
So if there are any further questions on the presentation, now is the time. I mean, of course, you can scan the QR code and use the hashtag InnovAIte to get into what you need to and place a question to our speaker from the German Institute for AI Research.
Just a minute to write the questions. If there are any, I will let you know. So give us a minute and we will check it right now. Tak moja otázka v tejto chvíli na režiu.
Now my question here to our sound technicians. Are there any questions in the Slido? In Slido, no, not so far. I can see some of you are still typing in your phones. Okay.
To ask, but I will try my best. So which of the 7 HLEG requirements is the hardest to meet in practice? Mihai, we need 3 seconds to switch the sound so we can hear you. When I ask you the question, just give us 3 seconds to switch the sound so even our guests can hear you. Tak môžeme prepnúť zvuk a poďme na odpoveď. OK.
Okay, so can I speak now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you very much for the question. It's a very interesting one and new for me. I would assume all of them are very hard to meet and to really get in practice, especially when it comes to this standard assessment processes. Because from one side, it's very hard to quantify these abstract principles, right? It will be almost impossible to say a system is 5.5% transparent, or it meets the human agency and oversight requirements on a scale from 1 to 10 with 3.5, right? So it's very hard, and the solution is to try to create operationable instruments, and this is exactly what we tried to do with this link and combination between the HLEC and the ALTAI. But going back to the question, I think there is a balance, and all of them are relatively hard, and of course it also depends on the system features and what is meant, for a certain specific system under these abstract terms like accountability, non-discrimination and fairness, or privacy and data governance. It's very, very context dependent. But I too much enjoy the question.
Thank you very much for your answer. We do have another question. In what manner will be InnovAIte ethical framework different from age-like principles? What is the intended difference?
So there is no difference. It's actually complementarity between the two. We take this as I mentioned in the question before. So we take this age-like abstract principles, we try to make them operationable through the ALTAI list. But what distinguishes the system, the project framework, is actually how and to what point are we doing this. So it's very important to ask those questions and to address these risks from the HLEC at specific points in a project life cycle, right? Questions related to data should be addressed at the beginning of the project, but it's a continuous process. So it should go also after the end of the project, or after the deployment of the system, if the system goes public, right? So I would say the InnovAIte framework helps with asking the HLEC and ALTAI questions and address those risks when the moment is right to do them and to do this.
All right. Do you think that we can aim for practical standards for the principles, specific or technical?
It depends again for various reasons. I would say to certain cases can be manageable, can be doable. To some, not too much, but again, it's very context dependent. It should be more a mixture from abstract, high-level principles, operational instruments, frameworks in which you know exactly where to do what. And with this, it's more manageable than just trying to convince researchers to have a transparent system without knowing anything about and doing anything concrete in this context. So yeah, it's a very small answer. I think we can talk half an hour about this. But I would say this depends highly on the system and the context in general.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we do not have an hour and a half to speak about this topic. So I don't see any more questions on the Slido. So I think this would be pretty much it. Thank you very much. We are very happy to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, dámy a páni, toto bol Mihai Maftei, Nemecké centrum pre výskum umelej inteligencie. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time and attention. Have a nice day further.
Ďakujem.